We are live. How y'all doing?
Hello.
How's everybody?
Hello,
How good
everybody.
evenings, good mornings, good afternoons, wherever you are. I'm
Yep,
joined with
it's-
Becca and Jen and Karen from Tea with Karen and Wilma Wilson. And I also put Wilma's page, her YouTube page, in the description, and Tea with Karen's page in the description. I also put Wilma's page in the chat room. So if y'all can keep that circulating, that'd be great. Also, both of them give personal readings. So if you would like a personal reading, go to their page and their contact information is there. So how y'all doing? Everybody good? Everybody great?
Yeah.
Little announcement for tonight. Anyone in the U.S. or anyone on daylight savings time, tonight's the night you spring your clocks forward 1 hour. So do it tonight so you don't miss us tomorrow night.
And tomorrow night we will be back here with Jen, Becca, and Ona for our Sunday rolling in the muck with the politics and whatnot. We're not doing that tonight. We got some more less dirty questions today.
Yes. See, I did threaten to do charm castings over 55.
You do whatever your heart feels you want to do.
Oh, look, it gets a little bit raunchy, so I thought we better.
You have freedom. You have freedom.
Oh, dear.
And I got Moose. He's joining in on the party.
Hi, Moose.
Wilma's got a doggy too, Becca. It's Bergen.
Yes, you were telling me the little poodle. Oh, Moose, I'm gonna knock that over, buddy. So
It's a big one, I think.
So there, thank you, Lucky Girl. There is Tea with Karen's link for her YouTube channel. Wilma, you read tarot and Lenormand and Oracle and clouds and tea leaves and everything in the world. So, so tell them about your contact information if they would like to get a personal reading from you.
Wilma, where are you?
Is she muted?
Yeah, there she is. We can't hear you, Wilma. Have you got your audio on?
No.
There she is.
Can you hear us, Wilma? We can't hear you. No, can't hear her.
We heard her
Not
earlier,
sure.
so she.
Wilma, are you? Oh,
She
maybe
said
she.
this. I think
She's giving us one. Yeah.
She's tending. Well, what about your contact information, Karen?
I've got my website. It's just www.twithkaren, which is spelt with an I. It's KARIN.com. I read tea leaves out of traditional cups. I created tea leaf reading cards, which are very, very similar and read very similar to Lenormand. Or Lenormand, or however you want to pronounce it. I read charm readings. So this is my pot of about, 500. And it's in my unicorn. Got to have the unicorn. I created a system in the mat system using charms to tap into mediumship. But I do a lot of fun stuff. So, and here's my fun stuff. Oh, Wilma's dropped out. She must be trying again. And I'm just going to show you when you use charms, and this is one of my favourite, and it means be a unicorn, live life on the bright side. Charm casting over books is really fun, and that's when I thought all you do is you flick and stop. And this one says, unicorn chose to buy the shoes. So in other words, treat yourself. And then you cast charms. So there would tell me you've got the medicine bottle, the little tank. It's like a little cannon. Whoops, army tank, I suppose you call it. And the pram. So there would tell me it's like unicorn wasn't feeling up to scratch. So she treated herself to some new shoes. And the tank there would tell me to hell with everybody else. Oh, so that's how you book cast. Yeah.
Can you hear us now, Wilma?
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
We can hear you.
We got you now.
Okay, let me rearrange this right now. There we go. Okay, so tell us your contact information in case they want a private reading from you too.
Wilma, where you gone? Again?
Oh, no.
We can't hear. Maybe we shouldn't have moved her. Oh my God, don't you love technology? I can feel you lean a little bit on Wilma until she gets noise happening. Wilma is an astrologist and she reads tarot, she reads Lenormand, she reads oracles, she reads tea. She's also a Reiki master and a doula and birth and death doula. And she's gone again on me. She'll be back. And a lot of people are not sure what a doula is. And a doula is a spiritual worker that assists life coming in. So women and people who are going through having babies during the labour transfer. And she also will sit beside those who are passing. So she does the link between heaven and earth, literally. So it's fascinating stuff. But when she gets back on and can actually hear us, she'll be able to tell us all. So I've known Wilma a lot of years. I can't remember how many years. So
can you hear us now? Yeah, we can.
We're there. Maybe let's just not move her.
Yeah, when I get moved, it somehow mutes me, and I've gone into my settings. Can't change it somehow.
We'll leave it like it is.
I'm sorry.
We'll get started with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Someone sent me a message saying that she had, because the Johnson & Johnson vaccine has reached some controversy because it derives from stem cells. And so the Catholic Church is vehemently against it. And this lady sent me a message saying that her knee replacement did not have to be done because her knee was corrected with stem cells. And it's been 2 years and she has not had any problems. And so what she wanted to know was, would the Johnson & Johnson vaccine that people are taking actually help other ailments in the body? Like, would this be something beneficial to their overall health or not? And then we'll start with Karen, then we'll go to Wilma, and then Becca, then Jen, then I'll finish.
Okay. I'm just laying out 5 cards. It's just a particular way I like to lay them out. This here is basically our positive or our negative. These 3 here talk about the information about our positive and negative, and these 2 here are the outcomes. So ship here would tell me slow changes. It does mean, yes, something that is coming. And I actually see ship literally as the fluid within the body. That actually would tell me this will be good because it means improvement. So it tells me there about control. Lion is a card that's literally man in power. Tent and tunnel would tell me, though, it's almost like tent's like a blanket that goes over somebody. So it's almost like there is some sort of things that will make them feel good. The only thing is I've got there with the tent, it would tell me it's like a feel good in the very initial stages, because tunnel is about our long term and so is ship. What's our outcome? Ring and anchor. There needs to be a lot more stability. A lot more, I'd look at this literally as a lot more testing. This here is the card that I don't like to see, which means it may appear that there is a fix in the early stages, but they need to look at it more in its long term here. Ring is when we're talking about health area, ring is the continuous cycle. It means if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I look at those there and it would still tell me what is precious to the people is their bodies and what they're doing. But I'd still look at the anchor and say it needs a lot more input, because there would tell me a temporary fix but not necessarily for the long haul. So what do you have, Wilma?
Well, just looking at your cards, I just like to add in the ring and the ring and the anchor. It reminds me of people having to come back for the second dose, and there being a lot of issues with there being enough vaccine or being able to get the appointments for that second dose with those cards. They need more testing sites. There's also, like you said, need for long-term issues. So I'm just going to scatter some terms and see what we get here. And this is Karen's dual-sided map. The astrological side is great for general readings, and just see what we get here.
Wilma designed that side, by the way, people.
Oh, great job, Wilma.
Thank you. It's meant for, like, if you want to learn astrology, even if you don't, it's a great general reading mat, and everything's there. You don't have to know anything. You just have to just kind of read it. So in terms of the okay, so we have the infinity symbol on the first and second house. So this is speaking of the body, how it affects the body, as well as values. I think this is society, how it's valued to society, and weighing those with the compass. So there's a balance that needs to be there's a balance to be had. So we know that there are some risks, but for the overall good of society, basically we're doing these things in these two charms. The elephant in the third house, communication, it shows that it's been a long time coming to get people on one side into the same tribe, that type of thing. We really need to really get together. There's a lot of division and a lot of questions about the safety, and that's reasonable. The elephant is also eternal and very protective over their young and over their tribe. So I think there's a lot of questions still being sorted out. The sand dollar in the 8th and 9th house. This is a house of secrets and unknown. So this is interesting. I think there's still a lot we don't know, to read what Karen was saying. And I think we still have things to learn, things to uncover. It's literally like... Do
you think the stem cell part of it, though, will assist the body in other ways rather than just the vaccine of what it's created for?
I think I'm not really seeing that yet. It's interesting, though, with the maternal symbol here, because that to me would link back to stem cells, as well as the 8th house for it being that real deep kind of crossing type feeling. But there's more to uncover. So that to me, actually, speaking of, I think there might be more to uncover there. The Sagittarius house, higher education, needing information. There's still, some locked information there again. So this shows that there is some stuff that we don't know and how it affects the body. And so that does make me think that there's something going on with the stem cells. Let's see, like, just as a general, what we get camel, frog, the pound sign, which, it's a hashtag. So I think there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of health concerns. The frog is, as a tadpole, it grows, the young. So it's also fertility in terms of the stem cells. So I think there's still a lot to be learned. Leo, I think people are jumping to try and take credit too soon. I think there's a lot we don't know, and people are trying to put a limelight on things with the Leo symbol and the camel, and trying to bring things out that may or may not be ready yet. I think it's going to be a long time coming with the camel.
So what do you guys see?
What are you getting, Jenny?
I'm getting that there is a lot of anxiety around taking the Johnson & Johnson shot, and a lot of people refusing or rejecting it. But there is an opportunity for something new and tangible to help the entire human body. And the way I program my cards for health readings, I'm getting skeletal system right and left, that it can be victorious in something to do with the skeletal system. They're going to have to do more testing on it to discover what that is. And I'm also getting that they're going to come out with booster shots for the what did they call it? mutant versions of
the virus. Yeah.
yeah. But there's something
like
about
an
it
add-on.
helping skeletal system.
Absolutely. There's much that we don't know.
For the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, for the stem cells on other ailments, I get that there's a little bit of luck there, but it's in the early stages or it may be small. So this may require more testing and research here, more trials, because there is a little bit of luck, but it may be small or it may be too early to tell. So that's what I'm getting. What did you get, Johnny?
I get progression here with the 6 of Swords and strength. So we start off with a good start. But I think when we start off with the good start, we get caught in the headlines about this is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. It is good for the health so far here with the star card. It's good for some health. I mean, it's kind of like the flu shot. Some people will have an adverse reaction and some people will not. The skeletal system, absolutely, I get that too, that there is going to be some benefit to that. Now, none of this right now is long-term because what you make today may not help you in 3 years because there is mutations, there are variants, there are things of that nature. But the 5 of Cups says that there's no long-term solution or no long-term benefit to the shot because there's going to be, I'm pretty sure they're going to take this formula and make it something different because of the way viruses work, the way the human body works. It'll build up a resistance and blah, blah, blah. So no long-term effects right now, but you know, this is how medicine and science works. It evolves. So
yeah, even when I look at the charms, it still comes out the same. We got 2 keys, which is opening doorways. It means taking opportunities that are there and to have them too, which still tells me they are working towards something good. The perfume bottle literally would be the injection or the fluid itself, but the book would still tell me there's a lot of things they need to find out, a lot more. I still see the keys as a positive direction though.
There's so much they need to work on with stem cell research.
Oh, I'd say so. Absolutely.
So our next question, thank you, Sue, and thank you, Judy, too, by the way. Russia and China are building a moon base at the moment. What does this mean for space? What does this mean for construction in space? What does this mean for claiming land in space? What does this kick off, if anything?
No, who are you aiming at? Me? So what does it mean, these 2 combined? Hang on, anyone out there? I just want another scatter. Okay, I've got fan on between lady and butterfly. I've got the skull, but this is actually the male skull because it's got the mustache. I've also got the dress, which is feminine energy, and I've also got the rabbit on the man. When I look at that as a combination, the rabbit actually means things that are, it's like multiplying again. But rabbit is, again, a little scared. And I'd look at that and say, maybe the rest of the world need to be really a little bit careful how this is being handled. The skull is literally the bones. And there again, we're on the book, which still tells me this could actually be quite disastrous. Fan here would tell me it can literally go out of control and they can't contain it. I don't like that. Now, hang on, let me just have a look on the other side. By the way, guys, this is a cup and it's looking down in a cup. That's the handle and that's the saucer. That's the inside of the cup. Beautiful mother of pearl. Lusterware. So, we've literally got the world globe. We've got the yoga pose and we've also got the grave. This isn't good. Because when I see the grave and the world, to me, I see devastation. We've got the yoga pose, which tells me about building the strength or the core strength. So these 2 are pulling together, and I'd say because they are both strong. We've also got the letter M. Now, letters hold an energy, not just a person, place, or thing. And the letter M is what relates to a number 4, which tells me about the strength, the foundation. They are both very, very strong players, but I actually don't see this as good as far as the world goes, because Graven there would tell me literally a lot of loss of life, and it's almost like it's out of control and they won't be able to contain it. So what do you guys get?
It's interesting that you say that, because I was shuffling my cards and I started flipping as you were talking, and I get the Ten of Swords, the Four of Cups, and the Tower. So as you're talking about, this isn't devastation, this isn't going to go well. The Ten of Swords says, and the Tower says, the Four of Swords in the middle says there's this celebration, there's this yay moment. I think there's a camaraderie that happens with different.
I'm just lowering my camera.
But it does not issues. There are definitely some rocky roads, and I do worry about actual possible explosions of some kind. But this is also, I mean, the Tower is also like really intense light shedding. So it's kind of like we may find out some information that we may not be ready for. So that's my take quickly on that. And then just to, add some charms. Now, the Ten of Swords, it does have the sun on it. So again, with the 10, it's not all is lost. It is the end of the journey and new things start. So it's like at least the sun is rising in the background. So there is a positive aspect out of it, or something comes out of this. The feather on the Four of Cups to me, again, shows the camaraderie or the coming together that happens with allies. I think is going to be inspirational or directional with that feather. That feather shows a lot of inspiration, a lot of new ideas, insights. So I think this is going to bring out new ideas, but through a roundabout, kind of way, through finding some holes and problems in the matrix, maybe literally. To some extent, they're going to find a new way. With the hand here and the microphone on Tower, again, I do feel like there's a lot of information that's going to be coming down, which kind of reminds
announcements. Would that be announcements?
It kind of reminds me of, like I said, like of literally new information, more kind of like alien information or literal asteroids, meteors, that type thing. With the Tower, because of the actual explosion factor. That's what I get.
Do the numbers, you guys, I can't read tarot for squat, so I don't know anything about it. But do the numbers on tarot actually correlate with numerology?
They're supposed to.
They're supposed to.
Yeah.
Okay.
They can if you look at it that way.
If you look at it, okay, because I'm useless there, but I just keep hearing and seeing number 10. Because the number 10 in numerology is about the endings, but you've got your 1 and you've got your 0. And your 0 in front of any number, whether it's 10, it's 20, it's 30, it's 40, whatever, it's your amplifier, your magnifying glass. So your 10 would, to me, in numerology, would be, yes, there is some closure, but it's also the magnifying glass over the 1 tells me it could literally be a bit like it's like a cockfight where who's more important than the other.
Yeah,
absolutely. And that's exactly what I'm getting, Karen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I start with the 10.
You start with the 2.
And I end with the Fool, which is the 0 card. So there's your magnifier. Yeah, I get like there's a lot of money behind this, but there's a strategy behind this, and they're lying about what that strategy is. There will be squabbling over it. They're trying to make it look like it's an image thing, like, oh, we're doing this together, but it's going to stir up a lot of chaos. And I get something changes. I get the Wheel of Fortune and the Death card, which is change to me, big changes. One of them will be more powerful, and will throw the other one off balance. And I get there's corruption involved with this also. And I would say that's on Russia's side. This is my Mother Russia card. And then trying to bring balance back, some sort of new beginnings with it. So whatever it starts out being for is not what it's going to end up being used for.
Exactly.
And it's like the 2 are power hungry and who's going to battle the other.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'm going to be an ass and say, we ain't moving. We're not moving. What did you get, Johnny?
I think the minstrel is the Knight of Cups in here. So this is like, we are starting out on the good foot. This is going to be great for civilization at large. We're on the moon. We got a building on the moon. We can walk around with no suit type of thing. You know, it's that type of futuristic look. Like this is going to be great for all mankind. However, the seer is here too, which means we know better. Like anytime the golem and the seer, anytime you leave out or anytime you can't do what somebody else is doing, then you run the risk of being left behind. And so if they have an advantage over you, because that's how this is going to be seen, because I get the fire card. Fire card is about reckless energy. Anytime you have an advantage over somebody, you seek to use it. I don't care who or what kind of country it is. When you get people in charge that all they care about is power, they're going to seek to use that advantage against somebody. I don't know how. I don't know if they fling moon rocks at somebody or what they're going to do, but here with serendipity would be your togetherness, and then you have hindrance right after that. So this, if you cannot do what they're doing, you're going to be left behind. So every other country on the world, your space program apparently is now going to be important. So that's what I get. Is this is not going to be good for those who cannot do.
No.
Now, I asked a question yesterday. I want to see what y'all get. I didn't pull Oracle, so I'll pull Oracle this time. I'll pull the rune cards. So Pepe Le Pew has been scraped from history because it glorified rape culture, they said.
Wait, Pepe Le Pew, the cartoon?
Yeah, the little skunk guy that chases the
The
cat.
little skunk who's
Because
always,
it glorified
yeah,
rape culture.
and he's always been, oh my God.
And I think
Ooh,
Dumbo
la, la.
is because he had big ears, which is about, I guess, physical deformities or something like that. And so
The name Dumbo.
yeah. And so what I want to know is, will cancel culture be stronger or weaker going forward? Dr. Seuss got 6 books pulled for anti-Asian racism. And Huckleberry Finn got words taken out or something like that. So it's going back in time and seeming to erase a whole lot of what people wrote and created.
But you know, as humanity evolves, like, you know, my dad grew up reading the Uncle Remus books and Song of the South from Disney and stuff. And as we embraced more of what racism and stuff was doing to our Black communities, those things fell by the wayside. So cancel culture isn't necessarily a bad thing in some instances.
So
Things
I
need
look
to
at that.
fall.
It's so strange. So it's sort of it's that it's like a double-edged sword where, you know, we all grew up with it, but did it really make us bad? But then some people have gone to the extremes. I've just drawn charms here. This is just my little dice tray, but it's easier then for people to see. I've got the perfume bottle. It's Triumphal Arch, but we use this as a tunnel, so it means looking at the long term. The cog, the teapot, and it's funny, there's another one that's a kettle. I look at that and say there's still actually a lot of work to be done. And I don't think they're just going to stop at those few with Dumbo or Pepe Le Pew and so on, because when you see Pac-Man, it's like, are they erasing some of the childhood of what us older people have grown up with? Cog would indicate, though, there's a lot more that will happen, and I think we will lose a lot more of this. Is it a good thing? We've got the teapots, which usually means it's good for open discussions. Teapots are friendly. Teapots is like bringing people together. By erasing some of these, look, they could have probably looked at a better restructure of it, but it's like it's going to open up, though, more open networks, more forgiveness in that area. So it's just a shock that yeah, they have changed some of these things. I'm just still blown away where they think Pepe Le Pew cultivates rape culture. That's unbelievable. I'd not heard of that. We haven't heard of that down here in Australia. We have had, they had like, oh, we call them lollies here, but sweets for you guys. We had some sweets, and they were little brown, like a brown jelly baby, and they called them Chicos, Chicos. They were taken off and renamed. We also had, it was like a long chewy, it was red, and it was a chewy toffee like lolly, and they were called Redskins, and they also have been rebranded. So when you look at Pepe Le Pew, Dumbo, that type of thing, how far are they going to go? You know, it's I can see it as a good thing, but I can also see that it's probably going to confuse a lot of people. But it is opening up, when I say the teapots, it's opened up the boundaries of acceptance and forgiveness. So what do you guys think?
What'd you get, Wilma?
I think it's interesting. Just looking at your charms, Karen, it's interesting. You've got the Pac-Man, and the way
Pac-Man
is, Pac-Man's the good guy, the ghost is the bad guy. Pac-Man is literally eating the ghost. They're saying that they're trying to wipe away the negative things, which would be like Pac-Man eating the ghost. It's a literal representation. I see rebranding in that particular casting. Again, I have the infinity symbol. We've got the tennis racket, so that's interesting. We've got the hand again and the koala bear. Karen would be better to talk about the koala bear, but this to me is trying to hang on to heritage, as well as, it's like the koala looks cute, but he's actually got a pretty big bark. You wouldn't want to, try to pet him. And,
no.
The kind of
they smell
where
too.
they're at, where it looks cute, but it's negative, and that's where people are going with it. And there's this back and forth fight. I think this is going to be long term, because we have the infinity symbol symbolizing what's going to go around and around and around. The tennis racket going back and forth. So it's that literal back and forth between, this side did it, that side did it. And, it's just the constant blame, the constant back and forth, the constant, it also reminds me of the way laws are made, where they, the debates and settlements the discussions are going back and forth, and you keep coming back to the table.
Is it finger pointing?
I'm sorry?
Is it finger pointing?
Oh, there absolutely. With the hand, there's a lot of finger pointing. There's a lot of blame, a lot of back and forth. Who's right, who's wrong. But it reminds me of the laws. It's like, well, this is what we can do. This is what we can do. I think there's a lot of rebranding going on. With the hand here, it reminds me of, it's like we're trying to do the right thing. But again, it's just going in circles. I think this is going to be a long-term issue of, how we're trying to recreate or reinterpret our images or our perceptions of these cute things that are really negative, that or so is the perception.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm a lot older than you guys, but there used to be a comic when I was a girl called Little Lottie, and she was a great big obese girl, and so when you're heading down this path, it looks like all of those will be rebranded or scrapped in some way or shape or form. Because when I was a child and you had the comics, you had there was Little Lottie, who was the great big girl. Then you had Richie Rich, which was the young kid who had all the money and that, and right down to, and like, is Daisy Duck now going to be seen as like a bimbo, that she loved to look pretty, but did she say a lot? So I think this is really going to open up floodgates.
Well, with this Five of Pentacles here, I think people are definitely feeling oppression from higher authorities, feeling the weight and feeling cast out. So
is it higher authorities, or do you think that's like society?
I think,
society, but like society's viewpoint.
Absolutely, I would agree with that. I mean, I think a lot of times, from my point of view, is like as one lowly person, society to me is an authority because it's the system, it's the entire system.
Shapes us.
Absolutely, just trying to stand up against, basically social justice warriors here.
Yeah.
But feeling oppressed, we've got a lot of people oppressed.
Yeah. Jen, what you get?
I get it's going to get stronger because we're going to be looking at who it oppresses. The challenge will be the supporters, those that support the oppression. And the challenge will be looking at the lies about it versus being very clear thinking about, is it oppressing someone or not? So definitely would start a lot of discussions. I get that there will continue to be some that end, that they crash and burn, so to speak. We have to use our own wisdom about learning, is this something that I support or not, canceling these things. Some of them are looked at as inspiring, as artwork, a form of art. And they have their own followers, that are committed to them. But I get there's going to be some things we just move on from.
Get back up.
I get, is it going to stop? No. It's kind of like a double-edged sword, though. Like, some people are stopping it because they think that it's the right thing to do, because it's a message of oppression or abuse. But then there's others that will twist it and turn it into something wrong and use it as a lie to serve their own purposes. So it's not going to stop.
Well, I got yesterday that it does progress, but I did the runes today. Here, kanaz means exposure. And I think that's the first thing that you deal with is, back then, this is why council culture even exists, or politically correct culture, whatever you want to call it, is because human beings didn't know how to treat each other back then. And so when you become a little more conscious of the way words work and the way you use them and the way they affect other people, then you start to change, which is why I got Ahos. Ahos is about change. Equos, I'm sorry. It's about change. It's like the death card. It's even dramatic change. This one is a little more incremental, I think. Isa is about ice, so this is blockage, something that's slowed down, kind of like the mountain. It can slow your progress. So this is not an overnight thing. They're going to continue to sort of, I don't want to say continue as in I'm blaming anybody, but it's going to be a bit of a nitpick at things. And so this will continue because they're trying to get to a higher consciousness or whatever the case may be, or you just in your feelings and I don't like what you said and I don't like your cartoon and I don't like your book and I say if you don't like it, don't read it, but I get it. I mean, if I'm the one that's offended, I should be able to say I'm offended. I may not be personally offended by the term whatever, but if it's bothering somebody and it hurts somebody, then who am I to say you can't be offended? So, but good Lord, just let things be sometimes, I think. So
Yeah,
next,
it's like walking forward, not walking backwards.
yes. The future of psychic studies and science. Will they find anything concrete? Will they not? Will they just dismiss it because it's not technically science, or what will they do?
Oh gosh, Wilma can start that one.
For metaphysical stuff? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but what time frame here? Let's put a time frame like the next 10 years of like what developments will be in the next 10 years. Because otherwise we could be looking at, 40 years in the future, they find something.
However you want to do it.
So in the next 10 years, let's see what we have for development. Ooh. That's an interesting one. We have the world, Cancer and the circle, Pisces, which Pisces, and I'm sorry, that's not Cancer, that's Gemini, but I did say Cancer, and so I'm going to stick with that intuitionally. Cancer is a psychic sign. Pisces is a psychic sign. We have balance here. The scale. We have the trophy. I don't know why I'm tied with this charm. The trophy is the first thing that landed, and also in the house of Libra, which is scales and balance. Kind of reminds me of like, oh wow, like, this looks like there will be some sort of information technology coming out, and the world coming out in higher education. I think the world is going to become a little more woke, for lack of a better word, but there's a lot of spirituality. People are growing in their spirituality, I think, and choosing their own way day by day. And I think that expansion is going to help get us to that place. I'll get my lights in a minute. Gemini here with the circle, I think there's a lot of discussion around it in the house of Pisces spirituality as well as the self. I'm not seeing anything concrete or evidence. This would be the most evidence that I see with the scales and the trophy, but it's still, I think, it's still following the house of entertainment. And this is still following in the house of legalities. So I think there's still a lot of discussion about it, and I think it stays up in the air. I think there's some new information that comes out, some new revelation, some new technology, but people are still going to make their own determination. They're either going to go the spiritual side of life or they're not. I don't see any concrete, perfect, solid scientific evidence, just kind of things expanding, a lot of talking and a lot of spirituality here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start in the house of the star, which is about literally our spirituality, higher powers. House, the house is the four walls, the structure, which still tells me it's almost like the spirituality, though, is still staying boxed. It's like it's still closed. People who are in the spiritual realm, the house there would tell me where they are comfortable about it, but it still, to me, screams boxed. Tower, rise up, but it's literally, rise up there, which would tell me, yes, there is some still stuff to learn, but I still feel it, though, as boxed. Tower, ladder, some improvement, which is not bad because it does mean ascension. So something is improving, something is coming to light, which is a good thing. Scales, some people will be for it, some people will be against it, because it is about the balance, the equality. What have we got here? Bat. That's a really good one when we're talking about spiritual and senses. There would tell me there is probably a window that opens where a lot more people will see things differently. In the spiritual realm there, the bat there would tell me there's a lot of people that do open to something that is more, as in higher power, but it still is working for and against with the scales. The pram, new discoveries, but small. You then have, like I said, pram small, and we come back to star. This here is not, there's important ones that it's just as important what didn't turn as what turned. The things that didn't turn was the sword and the cross. And when I read the chain, sorry, I should have explained, this is card chaining. When I read the chain, I look at this and say there is a small window where many people will grow in their spirituality, but I still think there's a lot of people against it. So there's a lot still probably thinking, oh no, it's literally pie in the sky, you people all talk shit and so on. But there is some that will really go about rediscovering intuition, spirituality within themselves. But I don't think it's just going to be a major shift where everyone has got it. I'd look at that and say it's a small amount that will grow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jen, what you get?
Yeah.
I've got my card for a healer on the bottom here. I'm getting they're going to be doing more opportunities, more watching healers, so energy healers, and actually like it's in the works now, and also looking at family legacies. So a lot of times there are psychics, like my grandmother was psychic, my great-grandmother was, it passes along through generations, that there's some sort of generational study that happens, but the studies aren't quite balanced. There's something like, there's a shift. They look at like people who were destined, within a family or a group or a tribe to be a psychic. There is some clarity that comes out of these studies, but they don't understand, like, why are some people not able to connect? Why are some people like impoverished when it comes to psychic abilities or healing energy abilities or mediumship? So they look at it as it's lifestyle. They come out of it with more questions than they have answers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What you get back?
I get that there is a community that is perhaps looking into it, but the problem is that the results are not consistent. So that they keep nitpicking, like they keep taking away, but it continues to grow. So I don't think they get anything solid out of it because the results are not consistent. The results are always missing. Like you get a result on this study, but then you test this other thing and you get a different result. There's no connection. Does that make sense? That's what I'm getting, but it continues to grow. That's what I get.
I'm getting
Thank you, Rosa and Adrian and Jocelyn too, by the way. I get Keter. This is spirituality. That's where we start. Then I get Osriel. Here in this deck, Osriel is the angel of death. But in the book, it says that this is the angel that can pick the soul out of a dead body. So it basically takes out the good out of the bad, or finds the good in the bad. And so what happens in this situation, because then we have Duma. Duma is the angel of dreams. This is not concrete. So what's happening right now is you don't know what to look for and how to look for it. You can go and study one person, but I'll guarantee you, just from the 5 people sitting here, nobody has the same connection to spirit because it's all different. And so what are you looking for and how do you look for it is a very hard place to start. But I do get Netzal. This is endurance. This study will continue throughout time because you can't completely dismiss it, because there are people who can tell you things on the spot, like, okay, then what is my middle name? And somebody may be able to produce that not knowing you, or whatever the case may be. And so you have to give some sort of credence to there is something else on the other side. I have, like I said, with the Azrael, that also can tell you that there is another side, or there might be ghost activity. Thank you, Renee. Or something like that, something to where you can't completely dismiss this, but there is no concrete evidence that you can say psychic powers and ghost and heaven exist, or whatever the case may be. But it'll continue. Just no concrete evidence right now.
It's good to see growth, though.
Yes. So is there anything, speaking of which, new from spirit? Like a new gift or a new way of reading? Will there be anything new coming up here soon?
New as in tools, or new as in... Funny, all my charms land upside down. Inspire. Passport. That's really interesting when I look at that in charms. I've got that one says inspire. Oops, come here. We've got, that's on number 1, bird on number 3, horseshoe, close enough to number 6, rings on telephone and number 7, and passport on number 8. This, to me, it's telling me strong there. It's like learning something from a very old culture. And when I'd look at passport and 8 is a business number, business, learning, ambition, hunger. It's like I look at this and say there will be something new that comes up in divination world, in the community, but it's coming from, I'd say, a very old culture, and more than likely a culture that not many people have actually explored. The inspire on number 1. Number 1 is a strong number, so it means strength, independence, standing there tall in their power. The word inspire would still tell me, though, learning something about an old culture. The bird is good because it actually means like spreading the news. And a number 3 is around all of the creativity, the vision. I actually don't think it's a physical tool as such. To me, it's like another type of learnings from another culture. You haven't got anything there that's landed on solid as in symbols. They seem to be all around the numbers. And 7 is the spiritual self. The telephone is, again, the communication, the chatter. The ring, again, would still tell me older culture that has very valuable information. I actually think there is something new, but it's coming from very, very old culture. So, yeah, I'd say there is something new about to be born. Probably things that we've never tapped into. So what do you guys have?
Wow. It's very interesting. The charms that I have the star here in the 9th house, which is higher education, higher learning. So I think there's absolutely opportunities, and the star pouring out does remind me of either older cultures or things being passed down, but it's literally direct spirituality or direct pouring down from the heavens. But then the rest of the charms are very self-centered. We have me versus me in the 8th house of transformation and deep psychology. It's also a spirituality house. You have Leo in the house of relationships and cooperation, and then you have the scissors in the 2nd house of values. So it's almost like values being cut, and it's like a dog eat dog society of, with who's trying to get ahead. And it's very important that that nobody's trying to, there's not a competition. It's really important that we work together. And I think there's going to be a lot of struggles coming in, but there is potential here. But I think it's important that we focus on the spirituality and what it's there for rather than fame, because what's coming in, it seems very, very fame focused rather than spiritual focused, which is kind of like fake spirituality. So that's something to be aware of and beware of. So keep it light.
I'm getting like Karen, like it's something from overseas. So like something from an older culture coming over here. What's interesting to me is like you have to be balanced when you use this technique. And I am getting it's a technique. It is definitely a psychic technique because I have the moon card and the high priestess here. I'm getting it will be studied also, and that people will have to study it before using it. I'm getting that it's a sensory restriction, like isolation or something technique. Like there's some sort of constriction. People get anxious when they try it, but it's some sort of sensory deprivation technique.
That's right.
And yeah, if you're psychic, you will probably get more psychic hits when you're doing it.
I get that whatever comes out is going to be news about some sort of lineage that is no longer here. But yes, it is something that has to do with perhaps the subconscious, your intuition, your psychic abilities that you'll have access to. But it's the moon, though, so it's psychic, it's intuition, it's emotions, subconscious. It's the mystics, but some people may not gain access, though, here. Perhaps those that are not grounded, like the tree. But it's from a lineage that's dead. So that's what I get.
Thank you, Laura. So that's exactly what I get, is because I got peace and Spirit told me to focus in on the egg. And then I got orphaned right after it. Peace actually means to be released from that which binds you. But this is why it told me, I guess, to focus on the egg, because when I think about the deck, there is no other card that would force me to do so. But so what I get is kind of like you're sitting in a room and there's like water underneath you, but it's not over you or anything. You're just kind of like sitting in a puddle almost. And it's dark and you're like, your head's down and everything in the world is shut off and yet somehow you're walking through, you can move things, touch things, talk to people, you can communicate. But it's like you have to go into this extremely deep meditative state to where everything in the world, even your body, is kind of like shut off. But your spiritual astral body, or whatever the case may be, is still wandering and doing things. It's like you can step out of yourself at will, or something of that nature, to where you go really deep into something, but you are still, you can't move, and you go into this deep meditative state. I think that's going to be explored more. I'm pretty sure somebody out there can do it now. Thank you, Monique, but it's going to be explored even more.
It's interesting how all of us see it not like a physical tool.
No,
as such.
Mm-mm.
It's
It's
definitely on a higher. It's a higher level, a higher plane.
so
This could even enter like interpersonal, like one person to another here. But then in terms of sensory deprivation, it's interesting because you have literally cutting off your values or cutting off everything that you have in force, which would
going within and bringing that, like Becca said, the subconscious up.
Yeah, it's cutting off everything that you have or what you have at your fingertips, like cutting off your senses. So that would be that deprivation. Yeah.
what charm is that? I could make it bigger, but I don't want to.
It's a stork, but it's a pair of scissors.
Oh,
So it's literally cutting off. And then this is
Change.
like what you have. So, the senses would be what you have. So that corresponds to that very well.
wow.
Scissors often means to heal from emotional pain. Scissors in its traditional meanings is actually, yes, means cut, but it often means like cutting the cord,
Right.
but heal the emotional self.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's maybe a technique for us to heal our own emotional traumas, or maybe you go in and heal somebody else's or something like that. Maybe.
Yeah.
Sense, because I was getting that very, the me versus me, the Leo, the very selfish kind of vibe, that fame type vibe. And he was also seeing the key moon in Lenormand. You could also see the fame, or it's very about reputation. So that can go back to healing trauma in our wounds as well. So all that negative stuff would be,
Kind of like a go into the brain, take out the bad.
yeah,
Wow.
need to.
Do you often find though, like you guys, when people throw the question at you and say, how do you know this? It's one of the most difficult questions for any psychic reader and so on. And you can't explain it. And it's like people laugh at me and I say, I hear voices. And it's not that I'm losing my mind, but to me, I hear clairaudient, and other people will see visions and so on. But I know when I've tried to teach it, the hardest part in teaching somebody to really look that deep within is to let go of other people's thoughts, perception and judgment. And often it's that very first pop in your head bubble that is the right bubble. But you allow logic, society, other people's thoughts and opinions cloud that. And like I do think a lot of people have a lot more psychic ability in them, but it's either how they've been raised or what society tells them to. Yeah. And I come from corporate world many years ago, and it was like if I had to basically hide in the cupboard for a long time when I was in that corporate world, because people don't look at you the same. They think you're a little bit loopy.
I had to do the same thing, Karen. I worked in America for 40 years, and it's
awful.
It's like, to a lot of people that have trouble connecting, they haven't healed something in themselves a lot of times, and they haven't learned to detach enough to come in from a neutral place. So their ego gets in the way, or they start over interpreting because of their own traumas. So I always tell people, like, try to heal from your own traumas before you start like trying to connect up with someone else.
Yeah.
So
but did you have to do readings?
Yes.
But Jen, did you have all these different workers in the corporate field asking you for readings? That's what happened.
I did readings on the side. So people at work, I did not tell that I did it or that I did healing energy work either, because they'd look at me like I had 3 heads.
Yeah.
So I kept it very quiet.
For this question, like I want a follow-up question on this here. Can we ask what will it be used for? Just sort of a confirmation on what we've been talking about to see if the cards or charms will tell us that this is indeed what this thing would do, or this new gift it just told us about. What would it be used for? Or how would it best be used? How would it help?
There we go. It came up.
Horseshoe. Horseshoe, as first card out, horseshoe there would tell me it's very good at assisting others to progress forward. You've even got your comet here, and which again, comet is a shooting star. Automobile, which is a car, and the cards is like playing cards. That first would tell me this will actually help a lot of people and moving forward. The comet is literally opening up the channels to the next level. The car often means where the person themselves can move, again, progress forward. But again, literally car is unload the baggage and the stuff that you do not need. The cards here, it's again, though, it's like you hold the winning cards, but the people here are a little bit scared to present it. When I look here at moving forward, again, medicine and butterfly, beautiful cards, because it tells me this spiritual gifts that people are gaining. Medicine literally is a lot of healing, and the 3 bottles mean body, mind, soul. The butterfly would tell me beautiful changes around people and humanity. This actually, I think, would be used in a really positive way in helping people see more of their own ability. But again, there may be a lot of things that they have to lose along the way. And it is literally the gamble in what they take. But to start out with a horseshoe tells me really good. And it can be used for the greater good for many people in the healing and the transformations. It's almost like reinventing themselves. So,
Yeah. Combined with what she said and what I had seen in my prior throw, we have the graduation hat in the first house, which again is that kind of like the car. It's the literal body. So it's personal growth going to the next level. We have the cocktail in the house of social networks, greater societies. So this is a way for people, like she said, there's a connection there. There's some sort of relationship going on with the greater society, realizing that we're all connected. The mermaid, again, to me, reminds me of that we're all connected, and this is about focusing on finding our spirituality, finding direction in our day-to-day life, as well as, to some degree, finding our purpose, as well as some healing, childhood healing, perhaps. This is definitely going deep. It reminds me of that almost mother feel of having to go back to, figuring out the womb wounds, and wounds with our mothers, and just getting in touch with our feminine side. We also have skeletons coming out of the closet, literally, with Scarecrow in the 8th house. So again, getting in touch, it reminds me of, the generational traumas or past traumas, and healing those things, as well as straw men. Really analyzing what's important. So it really feels like it is deep and healing focused to bring us to the next level, but there a focus on connecting us all, and realizing that there's something deeper, that we're not just it's not just a bunch of silly garbage and things to pick apart. There's something really inside and depth to be had. And then the 10 of Cups again reminds me of that coming together, those the literal psychic moment of seeing, clairvoyance type things. So I think it's a kind of a higher level perception, just people growing and going the next level, kind of like that whole transformation of wokeness.
Yeah, I'm getting it's a communication tool to help bring out your own psychic abilities. I'm not getting like it's with guides. I'm getting it's more like your subconscious, your higher self, your own personal things. It's to help you let go. If you're clinging to obstacles and problems and things of the ego, it's to help you let go. It's to help have discernment about what to accept and what not to accept. It helps with letting go of heartbreak and brings you to higher ground. And it's an opportunity for learning more about yourself, though, I think. So it does give birth to a lot of new things. It frees you to go and explore a lot of new things.
I'm getting that what it does is, for some in certain groups, it gives them access to something new. It's a new chapter and a way to change and transform. For others, it's too much of societal taboos associated to it. Not to say that it's bad. It's not like you're running around sacrificing chickens and goats. It's just that they view it, that group views it as taboo. Like that's dirty, don't touch that. But what it can be used for is for new access, new growth. But it's not like growth out there. It's in here. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense, Jenny? Like personal growth. And then once you do that, then you can share it with others. But societal taboos and some groups that don't want it, other groups are like, give me some of that, There's
still people that look at any tool of divination as taboo,
Yep. That's the devil.
Oh, we're all evil.
So what I got is what Karen and Wilma got, actually. The Temperance is my first card. Temperance is healing for me and my deck. The Star is your physical healing, and your Temperance is your emotional healing, because this is your balance card. This is you coming out of recovery for drugs, alcohol, bad relationships, abuse, whatever the case may be. And then I get the Six of Cups right after that. So this may be childhood trauma. This may be something you're stuck in as well, stuck in the past. There is also the Magician. It is nice to turn wood into gold, but now you have no more wood. So what is it that you edit? What will be the effects of the thing that you edit going forward? Is your past experience what gave you the ability to speak up? Now that you eliminated that past experience, can you no longer do such a thing? So it's nice in theory, but it's interesting in practice. And then interesting is not always good. Okay, so let's do one more here. I don't know if you want to split this or how y'all going to do it, or split it up into two questions, or what the case may be. But what I want to know is, what type of energy should we avoid right now, and what kind of energy should we embrace? What is Spirit telling you that's coming up that we should avoid and embrace?
So should we split it up into two questions then?
If it helps you, I can, because my
Okay.
order I can do at the same time, but however you want to do it.
No, I can do the same. So we'll say what will we avoid and what will we embrace? Yes?
Yeah, that's
okay.
it.
So top row here of what we will avoid. It's interesting. Kisses there. Kisses is like something that's temporary. It's almost like temporary joy. Grapes in its negative, of as in what we would avoid. It's almost like multiple areas. And you've got the bridge. I find that a really interesting one, because the bridge is literally about the connections or starting the journey. So I look there of what we would avoid. It's like a toxic journey. Kisses, again, it's like a veil or a cover as such, because it's almost like, short-term joys, but avoid long-term toxic situations. What will we embrace? Oh, that's lovely. We've got the candle, the butterfly, and the mask. The candle is our spiritual self, our learning. Literally think a candle lights the way forward. Butterfly again, beautiful transformations. And the mask is really nice to see, as in what we will embrace. It means we will show our entire self and embrace it. So it's no longer having to wear the mask because we are changing. And I look at that and say, beautiful cards to embrace. Avoid, literally short term. It's when I can't help but see that. It's almost like, the cliche of like a used car salesman, someone telling you a load of crap, thinking that you will take it or accept that journey. But there, your embracing is really good because it means you are finally revealing yourself. And it's nice because it means you can accept the changes that you've had within. Candles are beautiful about spiritual enlightenment. So what do you have?
I just like to add in with your cards, the top row, avoid overindulgence. The bottom row is, embrace your true self and take off the mask and show your authentic self, which is basically what you said. I've got the cards. I pulled 2 cards for and it's literally a pros and cons. So I don't have to go over which one's which. Basically, be nice, be friendly, be kind, embrace gratitude, embrace friendship, and just, random acts of kindness as well as keeping your friends close and being generous with friends. And then to avoid the hardships, avoid making things more complicated, avoid burdening other people as well as yourself. And then just getting into the charms, again, the camel, don't make things harder than they need to be. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Stick with the long haul and don't complain about it. It's like the hard parts are where we are growing and where we need to go in order to grow. Again, the bullet in the house of communication, avoid harsh words. Think before you speak. Think before speaking negatively or thinking negatively about things. This goes back to gratitude and keeping a mindful attitude, a very conscious mind of where your thoughts are going and where your words are holding power. The car comes up in the house of creativity. So again, it kind of reminds me of embrace journeys, embrace going on short, safe trips. Whether that's within your home using Zoom or actually getting out into nature. And then we have the hook and peace. So it literally reminds me of do what you can to usher in peace into your life and to other people's, because Virgo is a sign, and this is a house of service and what we can do to serve others. And it's like, what can we do to bring peace to our communities? And this goes back to, don't stir up wrath where you don't have to. But it's almost like you can kill them with kindness. Hook them with the good stuff. And then you can talk things out.
Yeah. I get block people that seem supportive, but that like you don't want what they're offering. It doesn't resonate with you. Break off with those people. Plant your own seeds. Plant your own harvest. Watch for the surprises in life. And then I get for what to embrace, things that bring you balance, because it's not too good to be high all the time or low all the time. Do things that help restore your balance. If someone's offering something to you, if it resonates with you, accept it. Do something charitable. Know when to walk away from someone. Do things that bring clear thinking to you, and know when to seek help when you need help.
Used car salesman.
Discernment.
Speaking of which, what energies to avoid? People that are feeding their selfish egos and their own ambitions. Avoid those guys. Like, run away. And then what we should embrace is conversations and unions where there's a free flow of energy, where you can talk about things and you're comfortable and you can keep those unions going. So like expressions of gratitude and forming circles and bonds and friendships with those sort of people. So that's what I get.
Yeah. First card to get is soulmates. This is what to avoid. Then you get regeneration and then chaos and conflict. Everybody in your life is not a root. Some people are leaves. Some people are branches. There are people who do nothing but suck from you. They're energy vampires. All they care about. Some people come around just because you give good advice and they can get it for free. And then once they feel better, they get up and walk away. And you're like, well, you just left all this energy on me. So now what do I get for this? I mean, buy me a Sprite, at least something. But no, you get nothing. Avoid these people. I know you're trying to be nice, but being nice only goes so far. Some people charge $150 an hour to be nice. I'm just saying. So you have Treasure Island, what to embrace, and you have Imagine. Embrace your dreams. Whatever they are, you have to at least try. If you start a sentence with I, what you say next is what determines what you will get and who you will be. Your words have power. That's why they say the pen is mightier than the sword. You can destroy or you can heal with just words. And so if you say I can, or if you say I can't, or I don't know, and this is what you're going to be and this is what you're going to get. So make sure you embrace your dreams. And remember, even if you only walk a mile, you have still lapped the person who never got up in the first place. So embrace your dreams and you have to at least try. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming out and joining us, all 977 of you. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you, Karen, and thank you, Wilma, also. I appreciate
Thank you so much.
Very, very much. Thank you.
And thanks for having us, guys.
We'll have to do it again.
Thanks so much for having us.
If you guys could, somebody, Lucky Girl is the most responsible of all of us. If you put Karen and Wilma's page information in the chats once more and again, I did put it down in the description, so y'all be sure to go over and show some love there too. And again, thank you, Karen. Thank you, Wilma. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Becca.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you, everybody.
And
Thank you.
see y'all tomorrow, where we shall roll around in the muck of politics for just a couple hours and see what happens. So y'all have a good night. Bye.